Welcome to Bartending 101. Today's lesson is about upselling. Upselling is a term that means when a customer orders a drink and you convince them to buy a little bit better brand and a little more expensive drink. We're going to use vodka as the example today. And so your well liquor, your rail liquor is just some no-name brand of vodka that the house found. It was the cheapest thing they could find. Okay. So if someone comes in and says, like a vodka tonic, upselling them would be suggesting that they buy a name brand vodka like Stolichnaya or Stoli for short, or Absolute. So here's the example. Someone comes in, hey, I'll have a vodka tonic. And you say, Stoli or Absolute? It's that simple. Okay. There's a couple reasons that you want to do this. One is usually name brand or a little bit higher priced items make the house a little more profit. So than the well stuff. Also, some places, especially corporate, are going for sales numbers. So let's say your well vodka is $5 and Stoli is $6. Well, now if you can do that 100 times, you just had $100 extra in sales that wouldn't have been there before. And the third reason is it puts more money in your tip jar, usually. It all depends on prices and how people tip, but in general, usually that helps you get a little better tips. So sometimes people just tip $1 a drink. If they're paying for each drink, it's $1 a drink. But if they open a tab, that's where it adds up as long as they tip the same percentage. So if they get 4 drinks of well vodka, that's 4 times 5 is 20. If they tip 20%, that's $4. But if they do Stoli for $6, that's 24. They're going to tip $4.80 or $5. So you're making an extra $1 or more. If it's a big party, that can really add up and put more money in your tip jar. There's a couple things to remember when doing this. You just want to go the next level up. So if they say well vodka, hell, have a vodka tonic. You don't go straight to Grey Goose or Chopin. That's the higher end stuff. So you go kind of mid-range. So again, Absolute, Stoli, there's probably a few others, but those are the 2 main ones that I've always seen or carried wherever I've worked. And if they say Stoli or Absolute and they're asking for a name brand by name, you can try and upsell them to Goose, but it doesn't usually work because they already know what they want. They already know, no, I want a Stoli. That's what I drink, Stoli. And the other thing is, and I thought about putting this in that psychology of bartending series, is you do this when you nod your head yes when you say that. Are you nodding your head yes? Well, that gets you to say yes. And that gets the customer to say yes. So when someone says vodka tonic and you go Stoli, you do this, Stoli? And they start going, yeah. It's human nature to just mimic or mirror someone like that. And so that's a great way to get someone to agree because they're already shaking their head yes. So yeah, that's a great idea. Yes, I will have Stoli. So that's upselling as far as liquor goes or the bar. Beer, you don't really need to do that. You can try it with wine if you know your wines. Like if somebody picks out a wine, you can say, oh, that's a great da-da-da. Have you tried this one? And upsell a little bit. You got to know your wines. So for me, it was a little more turn and burn. I wasn't in the wine section. So don't bother upselling with beer. You can suggest beer that people generally want to know. Beer drinkers like to try lots of drinks. I'm a beer drinker, and I like to try a lot of different beers. But as far as higher end, like, oh, you got to try this high end beer. It's like, hang on, let's just go through. I want an IPA. It's the style of beer I'm looking for, not necessarily the range or the price point. But with liquor, it's a little easier to do the quick upsell. And with wine, make sure you know your wines. If you're into wine, it really helps. You can say, oh, that's a great one. You should try this one. And that would be a great way to upsell wine as well. So that's upselling. Let me know. Put in the comment. Try it. Put it in the comments and see if you have any extra suggestions or tips on how to effectively upsell. Let us know. So thanks for watching.